Hey everyone, Ray Salvo here with a video on Facebook lead ads. And today I'm going to cover what exactly are Facebook lead ads, how to set them up, and then some best practices. So let's dive right in. All right, so as you guys can see on my screen right here, this is a Facebook lead ad. And what's so great about Facebook lead ads is that users do not have to leave Facebook in order to give you their contact information. So think about that for a minute. If you have a poor performing landing page, if you don't even have a website, if you're just looking to gather contact information for your seminars, for your white papers, for your service, for whatever, you can use Facebook lead ads to send somebody some information, give them some information from it, and then in return, they will give you their email address, contact info, and all that sort of jazz. So it's just a really powerful tool because, especially for mobile users, they don't have to worry about leaving the Facebook platform, and they just will submit their lead information and they will collect it. So it's extremely powerful, and you typically see a lot of leads come in. Now, because the lead form process is so easy on Facebook, one disclaimer I want to give everybody before trying this is people tend to be a little bit higher on the funnel in comparison to if you do have a website and they submit a form on your website. Just because the form process is so easy and depending on your targeting, I've noticed in my personal experience that these users tend to be a little bit higher in the funnel. So let me know what your experiences are there and if it's similar. But they don't have to leave Facebook. And guys, the beauty of this too is that it connects with your CMS. So the real cool thing too is if you have Salesforce or Pipedrive or whatever, they fill out their information. Not only do you receive an Excel spreadsheet of all of their contact info, it'll also connect to your CMS and go directly there, which is just extremely cool. So this is exactly what a lead ad looks like when it's all done. So this is the actual form itself. Think of any standard Facebook ad that you've seen on Facebook before. Like if I do Facebook lead ad, and if I look at this ad, for example, if somebody were to click on subscribe or get quote or book now or whatever call to action you have, what'll end up happening is then this form will pop up and this form is fully customizable and you're able to include email, name, like you can do form fills, a ton of information. So there's a lot you can do here. That's the power of lead ads. But let's dive into how to create them. I just kind of want to give some context on how that's done. So in order to do this, we're going to create a campaign from scratch. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you're in your Ads Manager account and then click Create New Campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Lead Ads Test. And what I'm going to do is make this a lead generation campaign. Now, this is really important that you create a brand new campaign because if you do not create that brand new campaign, you won't be able to make lead ads inside a traffic campaign or a page like campaign. The main goal or objective has to be lead generation. So we're going to leave all this blank for now. We'll cover this in another video. And I will just call this lead gen test. And I will call this lead gen test. And again, in this video, guys, we're not going to cover so much of the targeting piece here for lead gen campaigns. I will be covering some best practices a little bit later in the video, so make sure to check that out. But the standard targeting on Facebook applies to lead gen campaigns. You typically want to hit your remarketing audiences first, and then you can start branching out to people who engage with your page or specific audiences if you don't have a large remarketing audience. But we're going to cover that a little bit later. The meat of this video is going to be how to set up that lead gen ad. So this is my parents' business. Pretty blah ad right now here. I know, pretty sweet tree in the background, but we're going to create an awesome Facebook ad. So as standard, you're going to select your Facebook page. If you have an Instagram account, select that too. I'm going to go with a single image as creative is just extremely important here. So I'm going to change the image. And what I'm going to do, my parents have some awesome firewood here, but there's also stock images on Facebook now, which is really cool. It connects with, I think, Shutterstock. But let's see if we can find like a tree service image here pretty easily. And remember, the main goal of this is to get somebody to interact with our ad, click on that learn more information, and then fill out more. So I personally like to get images of somebody that is doing something, not just like a piece of wood cutting. I like to see the actual arborist, hopefully like an action shot almost. So I'm looking at this one right away. I can't see it blown up, but hopefully once I select it, it looks a little bit better. Let's see what that looks like once it loads. Oh yeah, that's a beaut. That's the one right there. As you guys know, you want to use your own branded materials too, but for training purposes, I'm using Shutterstock, which does integrate with Facebook. So this is just training purposes. So we're gonna have this video right here. You can also make your images into slideshows, so you can make this still image into a video, which we will cover in another video as well. But the important thing here is we're gonna have, looking or having tree troubles, maybe something like that. I got a little high pitch there. Contact us for a free estimate, and then we'll do like an awesome like tree emoji right here. Now I've spent about a minute on my ad copy. If this was real, I would be spending a lot more time and doing a lot of A/B testing with the actual ad copy. So again, your ad copy, guys, you want to be spending a lot of time on this, but this video is just how to set up the lead ads. Make sure you're spending a lot of time on how people are going to be clicking on your ad, engaging with it. It's extremely important. So the meat of this video here is going to be creating this instant form. So this form is that one thing that I was showing you guys earlier, this form right here. So what we're going to do is create the lead form, and I'm going to create a new form from scratch. And the type of this form, we're just going to do a more volume form. This isn't as important in my opinion, so we're just going to do a real quick form fill. The intro piece, we can briefly describe the information here. So I don't know why kids is automatically form filling, but the headline, contact us for a free estimate. So I have this right here on our lead ad. You guys can see what it's previewing over here. I'm going to use the same image for now, but obviously you guys can use another image here. I recommend to flip that out and switch it. And then you can put text underneath too. So like, in business for 50 plus years, sell, like put your selling text there. That's going to help close. Or what I would be doing if I was A/B testing this, I would try one version that had some verbiage that would be trying to sell, but then I would have other verbiage where it was blank. And then I would be comparing lead form A versus lead form B to see what has higher engagement and then more lead volume. So that's just the different stuff you want to do. Now, the most important part, the questions. You definitely want to get the email and you want to get their name. And typically I would recommend to get their phone number. But if you go to add a new question, you can see all of the information you can get. So if I want to get their address, like if I literally want to send if I want to send somebody and have my dispatcher contact them, I can get their street address right away and then have them sent like right there, like, oh, Billy, we have your address. We're going to send somebody out right away. Great. Thanks. Awesome. So there's that you can do. You can ask typical demographic information, work-related questions. I have never used this before, but it looks like it's mainly for other countries. And then you can do custom fields as well. So if you want to do a short answer that's like a form fill or a field fill, you can go that route. You can do multiple choice questions if they want to select A, B, or C. You can also do conditional formatting, which is really cool. So if they select one option, another hidden form comes out from underneath, and then another field is available. So you can do that. And then one of the really cool ones that was released somewhat recently is appointment scheduling. So you can literally put in a calendar here, and you can say like when your availability is, and you can say like, when would you like your estimate? And then you can have the date and time availability. You can put that in there. This is the pages time. And then you can have it send out confirmation messages. But it just kind of helps prioritize stuff too. But again, the main thing we're looking for here, in my opinion, is email, name, and then you want to add that additional form for phone number. And guys, I don't know if I mentioned this either. The amazing part is that all of this auto-populates. So if you're signed into a Facebook account, if Billy sees this ad and he's got a tree that's fallen down in his yard, his email will automatically fill if you sign into his Facebook account. His name will automatically fill. His phone number, if it's linked to his Facebook account, will automatically fill. So think about how cool that is. We're making the process super convenient for the user. It's all on Facebook. They don't have to leave. They submit that information. It's thrown into your CMS and it's done. So it's just super powerful. For lead generation businesses, you want to make sure you're capturing and targeting the right audiences, which gets into some of the best practices here in a minute. The last thing you want to do is you want to do some privacy policy information. So this has to do a lot with GDPR and different Facebook privacy regulations that has come out in the past. So definitely make sure you do not skim over this part like I am doing right now. You want to make sure you're linking to your privacy policy on your website, which is extremely important. And then the thank you page is where you're sending people when they're done. So you can choose to send them to a website, which is actually required. It didn't used to be in the past. But you're sending people directly to this thank you page and then they're done. So I could say like, your information has been sent to us. Someone will be in touch with you shortly or something like that. You know what I mean? But other than that, guys, it's not going to let me finish this because I don't have the privacy policy piece on here. But that's your lead gen ad. Literally, it's as simple as that. You have that information on there. You want to make sure that Pixel is enabled, but it's just like creating a normal Facebook ad. The only different is creating this lead form and setting that up for success with awesome creatives, awesome messaging, and simplicity when it comes to a form fill. That's one of the keys. Finally, what I wanted to cover, guys, is from a targeting perspective here, some best practices. So one of my biggest recommendations when it comes to lead forms, since these users tend to be a little bit higher in the funnel, you want to start from the bottom up from your targeting perspective. So check out my top 3 audiences to create when setting up a Facebook campaign, because that'll really help and go into a lot more depth. But you're going to want to start with all of your remarketing audiences. You're going to want to hit people who have been to your site recently, preferably product or service pages, or like the most qualified page a user can go to. So you're going to want to start there at the way bottom, but then you're going to want to slowly work your way up, because you're only going to hit so many leads at the bottom. But as you continue to like work your way up, it's going to expand that funnel and you'll be able to reach more people. And one of the really, really cool audiences that a lot of people don't use, at least in my experience, are people who have made it to your form fill, but have not engaged or given you their information. So think about that for a minute while I pull this up. So if you go to hamburger menu and then audiences, we can hit people. It's almost like if they hit your cart on like an e-commerce client. If somebody hit your cart for e-commerce and they didn't convert, you can almost do the same thing. Like if they got all the way to the form and then give you their information, you can keep prompting them again. And that's where I've seen a ton of success, because maybe at that time they just didn't want to do it. But you're able to do that, which is super cool. So again, if you're in the audiences section, so hamburger menu, not hamburger. And if you go to audiences, you'll get to this page. And then we can create a custom audience. And then with the custom audience, guess what, guys? There's a lead form section. So sweet. And what you can do is we can select people who opened the form but didn't submit, people who opened and submitted the form. So like you can do all this information and say like people who opened but didn't submit a form. You can hit those users and try to get them to like try to like drag them through your funnel and get them to convert. Now, you don't want to spam these users. You don't want to have a frequency of like 30, obviously, but it gives you a way to get that audience and get them to convert. And what you can also do is if you're looking for like review solicitation, if people who opened and submitted a form, you can reach out to that audience too with like a nurturing campaign and be like, hey, did you have a good experience with us? There's so much you can do here. So, that's like one of my number one tips when it comes to Facebook lead ads from a targeting perspective is start from the bottom up. Definitely do all of your remarketing. People who have been to the site and who have not inquired for any of your services. But more importantly, hitting this audience on Facebook who haven't opened and didn't submit a form. I'm sorry, people who have opened but didn't submit a form. You want to make sure you're hitting those users. So it's just really powerful. Yeah, guys. That's all I have. There's a couple articles that I'll include in the bottom too. I'll probably include a write-up in the near future regarding lead ads. But if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know below in the comments. Let me know if there's anything I didn't explain clearly, or if you want me to dive into a little bit more detail. And more importantly, I want to know what you've seen success with, because one of my biggest gripes, and I know a lot of my peers' biggest gripes with Facebook lead ads, is, as I mentioned 3 or 4 times, the users tend to be a little bit higher in the funnel. So how do we get that audience to be either more engaged, or how do we get them to be more targeted and hopefully closer to a purchase decision? So I'm just really passionate about these lead ads. It's really cool, and the targeting options are where you make it or break it along with your ad copy. So that's all I have today, guys. Let me know if there's any questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.